Hello and welcome to the How to Hobby Podcast. I'm your host, John Power, and this is episode 175 of our show here, the How to Hobby Boys. Once again, here to bring you some joys on a Friday, best day of the week in 2026 and forever, until Shawnee B decides, my fearless co host, I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to be the best in the West. I might move to the East.
You never know. Things could change. Things could change at the drop of a hat.
Yeah, you could move to the East Coast.
I
That
know
could
we could.
happen.
It could be a crazy year. How are you doing?
I am well, man. We are ready to rip and roar into this new year. I've got my active recovery going on. I actually was rolling out
Okay.
before
Your
we
foam
took to
roller?
the foam roller, man. It hurts. It really. Have you ever foam rolled?
No, I've never done it. I've seen people do it, but I've never done it.
So it's a humbling experience because as you get more into it, you start to develop just like everything. You start and you have no idea what you're doing. And
Yeah.
and then as time goes on, you start to so I've been adding it to my stretch routine. You know, I'm an avid stretcher.
Hmm.
At the end of the night, I'll do 5 minutes. Well, this is added on to my stretching session. So now I'm more tired in the morning because I took an extra 5 minutes to stretch with the foam roller. So now it's a
Hmm.
total of 10 minutes, Sean, and it's cutting into my sleeping time. But yeah, no, I'm finding ways to really get in there. That's the thing that it's you can encircle the entire leg in pain points. So today I was tackling the inside of my quad. So that's
Okay.
like the inside of your leg.
Hmm.
And man, that one just, it gets so tight from cycling. It's unbelievable.
You're just giving yourself a really good massage.
That's right. It's like Swedish style,
Yeah.
where they like really get in there. Did I ever
Uh,
tell you the story of when I was on a Disney cruise with some friends and I did the bamboo rod massage and it
uh-uh.
was the most painful thing. Sean, I probably weighed at that point like 145. I was just straight. I like to think it was muscle. It was probably just skin and bone, more or less.
Uh-huh.
And
Uh-huh.
man, she's like, does this feel good? I'm like, oh, no, no. And she keeps pulling out these rods. Like you hear her like unsheathing these like rods of bamboo. They're just wood and like they're heated. And every time I was like, oh no, another one. Dude, it was not what I want to be doing with my life.
No, no.
No, yeah. I mean, you got to gain a little bit more weight before you go and do the bamboo rod massage. Let me
Yeah.
tell you
Need a
that.
little bit of cushion.
That's it goes right to the bone. Oh man. So that was yeah, that was one. No, everything's good, man. How you got a big week ahead of you.
We
This
do,
is
yeah, yeah. Tomorrow I turn 31 years old. Tomorrow's my birthday, so yeah, we got all kinds of birthdays. It's actually my uh, girlfriend's cousin's husband's birthday, so we're actually pretty close with them. His birthday's today, so I we went out this last weekend to. Have you ever been in medieval times up in LA? Or have you heard of this?
I've heard of it. I have not
Okay.
been there.
A lot of people may know it from the movie The Cable Guy, but it's where they do it's all reenacting, but it's like actual jousting with like knights in a battlefield, and you sit in this giant dirt arena, and then they serve you dinner and drinks and stuff. It was an absolute blast. It was super loud, but actually seeing the knights, I mean, it's all choreographed and scripted, but seeing the knights actually fight each other with swords and axes and jousting, it was just a really, really fun time. And we spent like the entire day up in LA just going around, eating good food and eventually finishing with this medieval times and then coming back home. And it was a lot of fun. I would highly suggest anybody who wants to kind of go do a little bit of a celebration is to go to medieval times in Buena Park right next door to Knott's Berry Farm. So we did like downtown Disney, we did walk downtown Knott's Berry Farm. It was a really good day. And then yeah, I turn 31 years old tomorrow. So we're the big 3-1 this year.
Man, it feels like yesterday. That we were just experiencing the 30, which maybe
Hmm.
makes you feel good or bad. I don't know. We have crazy lives, Sean, and they're good lives, but you have been up in downtown Disney.
I
That's
know.
the second week in a row you've
Just
stopped
second
at
week in a row.
downtown Disney. Is the meat really good and on the strip there or something?
It's
Or
No, it's more just fun to kind of go in. You don't really have to pay anything. You still have to get through security,
Yes.
but you get to kind of experience the world that is Disney and like shopping and pins and food and everything without having to spend $200 a person to go into the park. So it's a fun little thing. Like if you're already in the area or you're just passing through, you might as well, you basically pay for parking. It's like $10 and then you can just go walk downtown Disney. It's a lot of fun.
I do agree. I'm impressed because this is week 2 of you mentioning being in downtown Disney. I mean, what a
Yep,
week.
sure is.
That's great, man. And good to enjoy the medieval times, of course. If you want to celebrate in style, go to medieval
hmm
times for sure, like Sean. But no, that'll be great, man. I'm sure you did not have trouble getting meat at
No.
medieval times.
No, definitely not. They gave you half a chicken. Half a chicken. It
There
was
you go.
fantastic.
That's great. You eat like a prince, not a pauper at medieval times.
Exactly. It was fantastic.
I wonder what the pauper meal is though. Is it like a little drumstick or something? Like a
Yeah,
single
probably.
mini one? It's like here you go. No, that's great, man. Enjoy. It's gonna be a fun time. Happy birthday.
Thanks.
This is the month of the birthdays. So my
hmm
brother turned um tw 28 today, which is kind of a big deal. And then my youngest brother is 26. So big. It must be January is now the new month for all the birthdays. I don't know.
Yep, it sure is.
This has been my life for a long time, but now I know that we've got a lot more January birthdays.
We sure do.
That and September are the two big birthday months in our family. So Sean, this is gonna be a fun one because we're starting off Q1 this year with a fresh start. And with that in mind, we want to be dignifying the work in 2026. So this episode is going to be all about how you freshen up your job to start off this year. We're going to be talking about some fun things we've developed. Sean has some wonderful lessons to share as a part of his historical deep dive into the job and careers throughout the years. So actually, Sean, after I go through and welcome everybody in, I'm excited to hear you do that.
Yeah, me too.
I'm sure the listeners are enjoying that as well. But if you are new here, listeners, welcome to the How to Hobby Lounge. Again, best place to be on a Friday. And come on in, sit yourself down, the plushest seats in town. Got them freshly upholstered again for this year, 2026. We hope you're having fun and ready to learn some because we're always here to fill your cup with a ton of knowledge and just get you going, right? This is all about value packed episodes here. So if you want to connect with us further, feel free to reach out to us. We have an Instagram at How to Hobby Podcast. And our best way to get in touch with us directly is through our Gmail. That's howtohobbypodcast@gmail.com. Also, feel free to hit that like button or follow on our show wherever you're listening to us today. And we thank you for your continued support. But with that, John and Sean are about to take a ride into freshening up your job in 2026, but starting with Sean's deep dive into jobs and careers over the years. So, Sean, take
Yeah.
it away.
Yeah, so I wanted to compile some data looking at how the viewpoints on work has changed. Because when we're talking about trying to go into this year and really revamp how we look at work and revamp how we want to be at work and really make ourselves the best in our careers as possible, because that's what we're really here for, is to build our lives together. I wanted to look at the past couple of generations and how work has changed and how we kind of have to adapt to the current landscape. So when we talk about work, I think it's important to remember that work is more than just a job. It's how you earn a living. It's how you find purpose. It's a lot of people build identity. And then basically at its root, it's surviving within your economic cultural moment, right? So how we think about work has changed dramatically over time. So when we look at kind of this pre-industrial era, right, which you all remember from school, work was tied to basically survival and family. Farming trades and apprenticeships really dominated, and the identity was inherited more than chosen. So you kind of inherited more from previous generations or your parents rather than kind of like choosing what you wanted to do or who you wanted to be. And then with the Industrial Revolution, coming like early 1800s, that's where work kind of shifted into be more about discipline and productivity because we had a lot of more of this industrial equipment. You had long hours, a lot of factory jobs, and the idea that hard work equals moral virtue. If you work hard, you're a good person. And then getting into the mid 1900s, you're looking at the rise of what we call like the career ladder. This is where people started focusing on loyal to one company. They're rewarded with stability, pensions, and retirement. And then what we see now is something a little bit different. So job security has declined in the late 20th century to now.
Hmm.
Technology has accelerated work and careers are becoming more flexible, but they're also becoming more uncertain. As there's more people, more work with technology, it's been different. So when we look at the core beliefs about work across time, we have your hard work leads to success. Loyalty will be rewarded. Your job defines your identity, and stability is the ultimate goal, but they have definitely changed. So when we look at Gen X, right? So Gen X was formed kind of by this world of corporate downsizing, rising divorce rates, and the end of guaranteed pensions. So they were kind of coming out of that, right? Which
Get
we'd
that
love to
out of
have now,
here.
but get that out of here. So their mindset was they were skeptical of the institutions because they were kind of being betrayed. They valued independence and self-reliance, and it was more of a work to live, but you still value stability. So people were pragmatic, you were loyal to skills, not necessarily companies, although that kind of changes depending on where you grew up. And then they were kind of the early adopters of the work-life balance. Now, when you get to millennials, which is what John and I are, we're formed by things like big social events like 9/11 happened and a lot of student loan debt. We had the Great Recession 2008, and then we've had this huge boom in tech growth. So we kind of tend to focus as a generation on we want purpose, but we want a paycheck as well. We value collaboration and we want feedback, and that questions tend to like hustle culture, right? So like you're going to be growing by questioning everything. And what we've normalized is job hopping. That's something that's super new to kind of our generation, and that's becoming so much more normal now. We're interested in more meaningful work that again pays us well, and that we are more burnout aware, but we're often overworked. So it's just kind of like we're more aware of what's happening, but we don't have the power yet to control that. And then when you go to Gen Z, so this is people born after 1997, they're filmed more by social media, things like getting into COVID-19, more remote work, and more of what feels like economic instability. So, whereas their mindset is work as a tool, not an identity, they value flexibility, boundaries, and mental health, and they're openly skeptical of traditional career paths. And the key traits are they're comfortable with side hustles and portfolio careers versus the actual like, career paths. They normalize more transparency around pay and burnout, and they will leave jobs quickly if the values don't align. So when we look at how things have shifted, we went from loyalty focused more to flexibility. We went from solid careers to gigs and skills. We went from silence and not really talking about what's going on to transparency. And we went from productivity being the main focus to more of a well-being, at least in theory. It sometimes doesn't work as much, but that's in theory what we're looking for. And then, the common tensions between generations, right? So, like the older folks generally tend to believe hard work pays off. Younger folks generally tend to be the system is broken. I can't survive. You've got like staying loyal to a company versus job hopping. You have like hustle culture versus burnout culture. You have like work as identity in the older folks versus work as just income for the younger folks. So it was really interesting compiling this data, and it's something that when reading totally makes sense, but I don't think people realize what this actually means for our futures because you have completely different ideas of what work and careers are as we go on. And now you have a lot of the Gen Xers who are in those upper management positions. They're not really able to communicate a lot of the time with the Gen Z, the young kids coming up. And so millennials almost kind of have to be this like gap filler, this in between to help bridge. We're all getting now into like our management phases of life. Now we're trying to manage how to deal with the Gen X and with the Gen Z. So I'm curious as we go through this episode talking with you and kind of some of our goals for this year, how maybe this fits in. I just find it really fascinating that even within the last, you know, 40, 50 years, how drastically everything has changed.
Totally. And great job there giving us that detailed dive through the work culture as it's developed. But I like the way, you kind of started there talking about what is work and what do you mean by work. At the end of the day, it is the way we find purpose, earn a living, build our identity, and survive within this current culture that we're forced to live in, right? There is no choice. We are for better or for worse in this culture, and so we better understand how to bridge the gap, right? And I like the way you're kind of using us as the mortar. I was thinking more intangibles, like there's bricks that have been formed, and now we have to kind of be the filler
Yeah.
between certain generations to make sure that the house stays strong, right? And that is a result of changes over time. So it'll be fun. I think you're going to have to now come along with us as we talk through some of these techniques that we were excited to share, but it's going to be a little bit more of a in-depth reflection time. So first, sit down, strap yourself in, grab yourself a choice beverage from our bar there, and let's have some fun here. So, I'm going to tell you what I think is the first thing that's going to help you freshen up your job
Yep.
and potentially change your perspective in 2026. And I'm going to call it developing a uniform. And you may start by saying, John, what uniform? Like in it, that word in itself, I could see even when I was pitching this to Sean, he just had this look on his face. I could
I
tell
was
it was like
unsure. I was very unsure.
very unsure. Like uniform just has a negative connotation. It's one of
Hmm.
those things that probably got left in the Gen X, and we are still not okay with it, right? Because uniform means structure, and uniform means somebody telling you what to do and how to do it. But I'm going to turn that on its head today. And we're going to use this as a way to view and look at our external attributes and then use it to move internal. So when I say develop a uniform, I'm telling you to really go under the hood and think this through. Take a time to reflect on what you're doing and first look, well, think about how you are being perceived as you go into work every single day. So
Hmm.
I call this first one, we're going to start at the external, of course, and it's going to be establish a look. So in my mind, Sean, I'm always looking to see where I can improve in the small details from the day to day.
Yep.
And when I talk about my externals, obviously we don't spend a ton of time saying, I do this and I do that. But the way I look and put on for work does have an impact, right? And there is something to establishing a consistency associated with that routine that is inherently you. So I first just want to say that find
Yes.
something that connects you to your uniform. I mean, this is something where it may take a little bit of time to think about, but I've found that, well, I'll tell you, Sean. So I'll tell you what I look like, and from my perspective.
Yeah.
And it's simple. I wear a polo every single day to work. Okay. So over the years, I've found a polo that I like because I'm
Hmm.
not going to go, people are going to have different views on this. Maybe they go more casual than even a polo, or
Yep.
maybe they go more dressy than a polo. And the beauty of it is, Sean, in today's culture of work, neither one is the wrong answer. And that's what
Exactly.
I'm
It's
trying to
really
get
not.
across
Yeah.
is pick something for you that you feel good doing. And right there, you're already eliminating stress associated with something that can be very stressful.
Yep, I fully agree. Because I will say I'm someone who always leaned more towards the casual. I wanted just like jeans that semi fit. I just wanted a t-shirt and some New Balance shoes. And I think that I have shifted over the years of being more into casual that is comfortable, but also looks a little good. So like right now, for even example, for any of our video listeners, so like this is the shirt that I wore to work today. It's not collared, so it's not really a polo, but it's kind of a waffly texture and it's got long sleeves that I usually push up. It's not fancy, but it doesn't look as run down as like just a plain old t-shirt, right? And the jeans, I upgraded my jeans this year. So I went and I bought some new jeans that actually have some nice fades to them and fit better and actually look a little bit more professional. I still go with the New Balance shoes because I want comfort and nobody at my work cares. So I'm totally fine rocking New Balance shoes, running around the office because I don't need to be in front of customers. I don't need to be, I'm not a manager yet. Like I don't need to be looking super spiffy. So I think that that is kind of where I'm at. Whereas my coworker and friend Tyler, he dresses up a little bit more. He wears the collared shirts, the slacks, the nicer shoes because he wants to be perceived as someone who is a little bit nicer looking, takes care of himself, and looks a little bit more professional. So the important part is to figure out what kind of find that natural balance, something that's super comfortable, still feels like it's kind of expressing who you are, but also professional and something that will fit in your environment. And it's completely different whether you are an engineer like us or if you work in marketing or sales or whatever it is. And you may have an actual uniform for work you have to have, but finding ways to kind of tweak that to fit your personality is the things that will make you wake up every morning and feel a little bit better about going into work.
That's great, Sean. And that's kind of what I was trying to get out of this is just be consistent because when you're consistent, you feel better about the
Yep.
choice that you're making.
And it just,
And
you're right, it takes stress away. Like you don't have to panic about what am I going to wear tomorrow. It's just, you have like the same 10 shirts and the same pants and the same shoes that you wear and you just cycle through them and it takes
yep.
all of it. You don't have to think about it anymore.
Yeah, and then you go on. So for mine has been, I didn't know this originally. I was kind of, I think if you remember back in my early days at Agilist, I was kind of the nicer jeans because I commuted to
Hmm.
work. So I'd go
Yep.
with the nicer Levi's, and I still rock those. Usually like once to twice a week. But I've discovered the Lululemon ABC pant,
Hmm.
and the slim fit is just perfect. The fabric is amazing. Like it actually feels good to wear these pants. And they're slacks. That's the thing that I cannot believe. So if listeners are out there looking for a comfortable slack option, because I'm not a fan of like the full-on slacks, if it's just like Dockers or
Yeah.
I mean there are some comfy
I'm not a
comfy
fan of
slacks
them.
out there.
I'm not a huge fan of them either. I prefer just a good denim. I know that maybe some good khakis are out there, but or maybe
Nah.
I've never heard of these Lululemon, the
Oh,
ABC ones,
it'll
but
change your life. I'm telling you
okay.
right now. The minute it feels like you're walking through butter. And maybe that's a good thing or bad thing, but
Yeah.
oh man, I put them on this morning. Every time I put them on and I get out of the shower and I put them on, I'm like, oh yeah, oh that is
I'm gonna have to
nice.
look these up. I've
You're
never heard of these.
you're gonna have to check it. I mean, they're not easy on the wallet, but
Yeah.
there's a
Oh yeah.
reason that you're paying that extra money. Let me tell you, because that fabric is bomb. And I just set a goal. I'm like, I'll buy a new pair of these once a year. That's kind of
Hmm.
my little treat. And then there you go. You have a rotation. Okay, so moving on here. So that's establish a look, but then we're gonna kind of want to go internal, listeners. Build out key attributes. So these are things that you want to be known for. And it could be anything. It could be confidence, it could be a specific skill set that you're developing, better communication. But these are key attributes that are going to form that mortar
Yeah.
that we were talking about earlier. And Sean, so what are I guess in my mind, I am curious, what are some of your key internal attributes that you think set you apart?
Yeah, so like there are things like I want to be known as the good communicator. And I think I'm working my way towards that, and everyone says it, but I think what I want to be known for is the guy who is comfortable standing in front of people, the one that could go present in front of customers, the one that could make that presentation to the upper management, who can be confident in themselves. Like that's really what I'm looking for. I'm looking not really to be technical, and I look forward to talking about this a little bit later. I don't really want to be known as the technical guy. I don't want to be the best design engineer. I want to be the most versatile design engineer that can do a bunch of different things and can tackle things because I want to be the guy that they can just throw on anything. Because it means more job security for me, right? If for me in my industry, if you pigeonhole yourself into one thing, it can be hard to get out of that. So I'm trying to be the guy that can do a bunch of different things. So that I'm also looking for the guy that is dependable. Looking to be the guy that like everyone knows when they give me a task, it's going to get done. And that was something big. I've mentioned it before here. I'm going to mention it again. Best advice of any manager, and he's my current manager. He said a lot of people will try and impress others and they'll try and say yes to everything. And they'll get on a bunch of different programs and they'll say yes to all this stuff. And then they deliver half quality work because they're stretched too thin. And now what instead of happening is now let's say you're on 10 projects that you delivered crap work to. Instead of being the guy that everyone's like, oh my God, he does so many things, you just got every single person you're working with said they're not really good at their job. They do have quality work. They're always late. They always seem stressed. So he said, focus on a couple of things and get really good at that. Be the guy that finishes stuff. Be the one that
Mm,
delivers. Don't be the one that's always left people wondering what happened, why is it late, what's going on. So that's kind of where I'm trying to focus on is to be the guy that can do a lot, but doesn't say yes to everything.
That's great, Sean. That's actually leading well into one of mine. It's always been execution, and I'm continuing to try and embody that more and more and more as the years go on. Because I agree with you. I think so many people never truly accomplish anything because they're just jumping from thing to thing to thing. And you almost got to think out of the box with it and say, what am I going to accomplish for this specific program that's going to
Hmm.
change how I'm perceived
Yep.
versus just doing a one-off little thing here, one-off little thing here. No, and that's actually kind of one of my stretch goals is from a global perspective. What am I doing that people are saying, now that makes a difference? And I feel like those, if people struggle with goal setting, and we'll kind of talk through goal setting here a little bit
Hmm.
later in the show, but that is one that it can be a little bit difficult, right? To when you talk about not just saying the cliche ones, like I'm going to do this on this program that I'm doing
Hmm.
now. I'm going to do my current job. It's like, well, that's not really a goal. That's kind of just doing what you do. So I think a goal is actually more of a external perspective. And again, why I think this will bring you value listening to this show today, listeners. We want to take a 10,000 foot view of our trajectory and say, okay, now I'm here. It's January of this year. What am I going to do that flips the script on something I've never done before this year? And that's kind of where I'm at, Sean. I really am trying to think out of the box here. Yeah, execute. That's like one of the key attributes that you need to have along the way to
Hmm.
in your toolkit, right? This is when we said develop a uniform, in my mind, it's like establish a look, be consistent. That's step one. But then from there, you're actually building out the tool belt. You're Batman, you got the utility belt, and you've got to then craft each pocket to be your unique set. And
You
I'm
do.
oh man, and I got my batarang, like it's nice and sharp now. You know what? You know those games where it's like you have to it takes you time to hone that skill, and then when you finally
Hmm.
get it and you're like, oh, now I'm unbeatable, and you're just taking down guys. I feel like that's what this is, like in the real world. It's like a
Yeah.
video game, and you're Batman, and you're just sharpening utility skills, man. It's great. I don't know if that aligns with you or gets you inspired at
No,
all,
it
but
landed with me. It landed with me.
so Sean, why is this going to work for you this year?
Yeah, so this year is going to be it's a big transitional year because I'm trying to figure out what I want to do with the rest of my life, right? Where I want to live, where I want to be, where I want to work. So my goals for this year and what I'm really focusing on is trying to set myself up as much as possible for my future. It's not just setting myself up right now because I just want to make more money or because I just want to get the next promotion, but I'm actually trying to set this up so that I'm building the foundation now for the rest of my career because I have many, many years ahead of me, unfortunately, that I have to keep
We
working.
do, don't we?
We sure do. So I'm trying to do that. So that's like for this year, I'm focusing on that. We're at a pretty cool place in work right now where things are kind of shifting. Mindsets is shifting. We're focusing more on cost rather than actually focusing on getting the next thing out to market faster. Like it's a very interesting shift as we try and get into it. And I'm really excited for it. And I'm really looking forward to, getting better at what we've talked about, establishing a look. Like I want to get a little bit more, like I want to go build my closet out a little bit. I want to build those key attributes. And I'll talk about that when I get to some of my actual goals for this year. But I want to build more key attributes. I want to feel more dependable to my coworkers. I want to feel like I'm better at what I'm doing. I want to just keep feeling excited to go to work. Like that's really what I'm looking to do.
That's great, Sean. Yeah, I think this will work all year and into our long career, Sean, and wherever you are, listeners, and your careers. I think even if you're in school, take these ideas and start embodying them now, and you will be so potent. Sean, we were kind of in that. We were in separate camps, so you went full 4 year, and I came in off the community college route.
Yep.
And there was a definite difference between people that ran the 4 year route and people that came in like me, hot off the streets from the community college, ready to get that degree and hammer. And I don't know if you remember seeing some of us from that separate path.
Hmm.
I think you did by the nature of you being involved in Tau Beta Pi, but just the energy that I always felt like we brought versus just the regular
Yep.
four-year college student was so unique and so different.
It
And I
was.
feel
It was
like
very different.
and I feel like it started there, right? That it was that developing confidence, figuring out what you want to do and how you want to do it, and starting to build key attributes. Now, again, I didn't have two pennies to scrape together to establish a look that maybe was super presentable, but you could still look nice, and that's the whole point of this, right?
Hmm.
Look nice, whether it's more on the casual side or more on the dressed up side. You can look nice and be nice at the same time. And that's cleanliness is equal to godliness. A good gospel drummer told me that a long time ago, and I just keep using it wherever I can. So let's be cleanly, and we're gonna go places in 2026. But with that, Sean, let's move into our job goals this year. I think for me, I'm actively assessing the technical management path
The two
versus
paths.
yeah. So technical versus managerial path and looking at those very heavily this year.
Hmm.
Last year, kind of a goal of mine was if I could get an opportunity to go into management, I would be willing to take it. And yeah, I mean, what are some of your thoughts on the differences between those two paths?
Yeah.
And when would you say is the right time, or you think a good time to make a change? And is it my final one? Is it based on a year mark or just opportunity that comes?
I think it's based on not necessarily year mark, but skill sets. I think that the single greatest managers I've ever had were people who came from really strong technical backgrounds. Because I think the best manager is one that understands the people that he's managing. Like that's just the reality of the situation. If you don't understand who you're managing, you're not going to really be that great at your job. And so I think doing the like classic 8 to 10 years, I think that is that sweet window where you have figured out the technical know-how, you figured out what you like, and you figured out that technical is not necessarily the direction you want to go. It's not for me. Like I already know I do not want to go the technical route. I want to go the managerial route because I get my energy, my what makes me super excited to go into work is not solving the day-to-day problems of the equipment. It's solving the day-to-day problems of my coworkers. So I get more energy from helping Mayo next to me solve a problem than I do doing it myself. And so I'm focusing, okay, I helping people. I don't necessarily like doing the work myself, that technical side. Whereas I know like a lot of the guys I work with, they're like, I have zero interest in going managerial. I don't want to deal with people problems. I want to deal with equipment problems, technical problems. Whereas I'm the opposite. So I think that it's you have to get a strong foundation first. And my current manager told me that because I came in week 2 and I'm like, hey, I want to be a team lead. I want to be a group lead. Like that's my career path. And he's like, whoa, slow down. Like you have to he's like you have to spend a couple of years working here as a technical guy before you can be an effective manager. So get that out of your head. You're not gonna be able to jump straight into manager, or I don't think you should. I think it's gonna be very difficult. I think spend some of those years in technical, then focus on managerial. And I think the clearest thing is what do you get more energy from? Solving people's problems or technical problems? And that kind of like helps you go. I think everyone
Yeah.
should try a little bit of both, but I
Yep.
think that's usually the question you have to ask yourself when it comes to at least in a STEM related field of what direction you want to go. I think either way, at the right company, you could still continue growing. You could still make a lot of money. It's not like you have to go one or the other.
Yep.
It's all about where you want to take your life.
No, that's great. I think some crossover is always fun. And like you said earlier, being able to grow in a lot of other things can be very potent for you. So, yeah, thanks, man. I think I'll continue to assess it. And I think, honestly, I do really enjoy technical. So that's why it's kind of been more of a conversation for me and an
Hmm.
assessment because I really enjoyed growing technically in what I do. And again, yes, this is in the context of STEM. So we're talking about a very specific technical path versus, I mean, even in management in STEM, you're still going to get into technical problems. So I think
Yep.
that would be the saving grace for me, but why I'm an engineer in the first place. So Sean, yeah, what are one of your goals this year?
Yeah, so I think I'm going to just go through both of mine that are really
Great,
big.
great
I
idea.
think because it leads off of it, I want to find more ways to lead at work. I want to find more ways to take ownership because I'm at that point where I'm trying to show upper management that I am qualified to basically start taking their job. Like that's kind of where I'm trying to get towards. So I'm trying to find the ways to lead. And we were talking about this before we came on air, but I'm in kind of a weird place at work because last year it was a really visible year for me. So I was on a lot of people's radars. I was doing a lot of the really high profile work. And so I was talking with a bunch of different managers and I was doing working with a lot of different people. But towards the end of last year, my project kind of shifted and I moved into work that's more on the support side. So not the main face, but more of the support and trying to help people side, which I get more enjoyment from, but I have less visibility. So it's almost kind of like hurting me a little bit because now I don't have that. I'm that problem solver that's going and stack bodies and like really killing it at work. I'm the guy that nobody really thinks about, but it's still a super critical role. So I'm kind of in this weird thing and I'm trying to find ways to lead and take ownership in my work. And then in that, what I'm trying to continue always doing is to become more of a jack of all trades. I don't really want to become like really good at any one thing. I think that people who do that that's totally cool. It's not who I am. I want to get better at the random little important things. Like, for example, something that a lot of engineers don't think about is the majority of your job isn't the actual engineering, it's getting the engineering approved and released. Like the actual process of doing everything from start to finish. Most people don't think about how much work actually goes into that approval process to take from idea in your mind to actually parts in your hand that are being, giving out to the customer, going out into the world. And I'm trying right now to find ways to take leadership in filling that role, taking it so the engineers can just relax and do what they want to do. I'll fill the gap of the things I don't want to do. So I'm trying to become jack of all trades and again, find ways to lead this year.
Ah, man, great way of developing these goals. I'm liking them, Sean. And good luck on your path there.
Thanks.
My final one is develop further on something I'm not very good at, Sean. So this is just one I'll say up front. I struggle with the ability to be able to pass off work that I
Hmm.
personally can't do. So, and there's such a balance here because I've done it a few times in both a positive and then a negative way. And the thing that I've realized is if you find the right person who's hungry enough, they will take something that you're struggling to complete and just blow it out of the water. And so it does take some nuance here, but I want to continue to develop this because I've seen it happen a few times for the better, and then I've seen it happen a few times for the worse. And I
Hmm.
think when I've seen it happen for the worse, it tends to be me hanging on or trying to hang on to something for too long. And so that's what I mean in terms of the development. It's more of a stretch. It's I need to be able to more quickly assess and know when I'm sort of stringing something along and it's like hanging dead weight, or bringing the anvil with you when you
Yep.
really don't need to. You can move on to the next plethora of problems and let somebody else who may be willing to help or may be better suited, right? I think that's kind of the one for this year is continuing to grow that Rolodex and find the people that are better suited for certain problems if you're not the one, and how to communicate that you need that assist, right?
Yep.
So that's kind of there's two parts of this that are more in depth in my mind. It's first assessing and understanding when I'm pulling dead weight, and two, being able to communicate with that person who's really the one who should be doing the work in the first place. And that's pretty much, I think a lot of us struggle with that. Maybe I'm wrong, but I do think that this is one I see, and I want to be able to better associate paths with this when they're coming up. So yeah, overall, I think two good goals for myself and for you, and I'm looking forward to see how we develop in 2026. Man, it's gonna be a
Hmm.
really fun. It's gonna be a fun year, a
Yeah,
stretch
me
year.
too. It's gonna be a good year.
So let's finish up this episode with our top job tools. This will be a really fun way to, I think, end the show, and always is a good time because we have ideas about how to make our jobs better, and people agree and or disagree. So drop yours in the comments below, listeners, and or email us the things that are going to make your job more effective this year. We've got a lot that came through, but Sean, why don't you take it away and I'll finish up.
Yeah. So I think that the two big things that I plan to use a lot this year, and I think everyone should be using, we've talked about it a couple of times. I plan to use AI more and more at work. And I know that AI is kind of a weird term. I think it's more like the large language model, right? The LLM. I'm focused more on using it as an aid to help me organize my thoughts. I still want them to be my thoughts, but helping me organize. So creating slides or creating notes or dictating to it. Like I really want to use that. We use, Microsoft Copilot at work, and I'm trying to get more into using that and trying to, make myself more effective. Take away the things I don't like doing, organization, note taking, put it on the AI so that I can then do more of what I want to be doing. And then I think the single most important tool that we all need to have, and I think will get you farther in your career than any other tool in existence, is a positive attitude. I
Huh.
think that that alone will get you farther than anything because it's you. If you're the guy that is always positive and always looking for more and always wanting to grow and challenge, people take note of that. They notice, and your life will get better. Your career will advance, and there will be so many opportunities you don't know yet that are out there, but they will open, the doors will open for you. So I think positive attitude is probably the single most important job tool you can ever have.
Oh, I couldn't agree more, Sean. That actually leads perfectly into mine, which is, and it's actually building off of last week's episode, 174. If you didn't hear it, it was about our top fuel sources. Mine is going to be all about more quality fuel and fitness in 2026. You got to bring these along with you when you're developing your job further. Because otherwise, Sean, I just feel like without quality fuel
Yep.
and some form of fitness, you're not going to be able to maintain that contentment, that positive attitude, or it becomes more and more challenging in my mind because you're just not looking forward to certain things that should be a bright spot in the day. When I get on my bike, and I've sort of gotten into it again this year, I almost need to go out of body with it. It's a weird experience because when you ride the same roads every single day, it can become very monotonous.
Yep.
But there's something about that experience of connecting with something, in this case, it's my bike, and then it being my primary form of transportation every single day. There's something there that is it's it's a non it's a untangible. Uh, you can't quite put your finger on it.
Hmm.
And but I couldn't do that without quality fuel. So
Yep.
they kind of go one and one because through that I'm able to get more positivity. I'm able to be more effective when I come home. I feel like I'm able to be more effective when I get to work. It serves both purpose. And again, it's a perfect median for just you get on that bike and yes, I'm focusing on the road. I'm definitely looking where I'm going. I'm definitely connecting with drivers and looking and making eye contact where I need to be, watching things that are happening around me. But at the same time, I'm also reflecting on what did I do today?
Hmm.
How did this go? Where could I have gone better? What do I need to do tomorrow? And kind of having that time of just, I think, natural filing that everybody needs before they go on to the next thing. And I just don't think we have enough of that today with phone use. And
Yep.
I mean, there's so many people at my work, even still, where they go outside and they take their little walk, which is great, but their head's in their phone as they're
Yep.
walking. And I'm like, you are, look up, man. Like, look up at what you need to be enjoying right now. The sun's out. Like, this is great. This is your outside time.
Yeah, this is it.
And that phone is not giving you anything better than what you got right in that over there. And so that's my first one, Sean. More quality fuel and fitness. And then secondly, plenty of pens and paper. I've continued to just find so much joy actually physically writing things down and checking them off. It's just so much so that I'm Sean, I'm kind of sad to admit it, but I've been considering getting like a legitimate pen body, like an actual
Oh, okay,
metallic
okay.
one. I don't know if you've ever, because
I want one. I've just never had a need for one, you know? Like I don't use it
that's
enough, but I think if you do, it'd be really cool.
well, so that's the thing. I felt the same way where I'm like, I don't think I've never felt the need, but recently, so this is, hear me out. This is what's been happening. I'm
Hmm.
traveling between two buildings.
Okay.
So there's a time where sometimes I have to go and take a meeting at another building, which is across campus. I ride my bike, but I stick my pen into my pants. And the motion of me like cycling over and then walking around, sometimes the pen like blows up in my pocket. Like it
Yep.
separates all the, you know how you just turn it a little bit and it doesn't
Yep.
take much force to like what make it all explode. And it's getting all scratched up and messed up again, nothing wrong with that. I'm not saying, but it is sometimes annoying when I try and pull it out and I pull the top out and leave the ink in
Hmm.
my pocket. I'm like, okay, that's not a great. So I might be getting close. I'm no. We've kind of had this. We're definitely not ones to go and buy anything that we
No.
don't need. But in this case, I'm like, well, there's plenty of companies now that offer like a solid metal bodied pen
Hmm.
that just has ink in it, and it'll be like solid machined. You know what I mean?
Yep. Yep.
And anyway, we'll see. Maybe that'll be the 2026 splurge. But I'm writing enough, I'll tell you that. I go through like that's kind of been one of my secret pleasures. I've been going through probably a full ink nib, like
Yeah.
refill every 4 months.
That's crazy. I probably haven't killed one in the last 2 years.
Um,
I don't write enough, apparently.
yeah, no, it's between home and work. I actually need.
Hmm.
It got to the point where I was actually buying refill packs of just the ink body.
Hmm.
So, and the go-to pen still is the Energel. I don't know if you guys
Yeah.
heard that. Well, we did talk about it at some point in the last year, but that Pentel Energel, man, I'm telling you, oof, that is so smooth. Have you gotten one of those yet, Sean?
Nope. I'm like the oh, it's just blanking. It's the
Pilot G2?
yes, Pilot G2.
Yeah.
That's my favorite is the
That's
Pilot
the most
G2.
common. The most common. That
Yep.
is like the G2
But
ink
I like
is,
I like the point 0.3 font. So the point 0.3 tip, which is a lot
oh,
harder to find. I had to order it on Amazon, but the point 0.3 tip because I really like fine writing. I don't like when it's really blocky because my handwriting's not great, so it tends to just kind of like flow together. I like the point 0.3 millimeter tips on the Pilot G2s.
interesting.
Hmm.
Yeah, so I'm a point 0.7.
Yep.
I really like the point 0.7. And anything smaller than that is a little bit, I think, too small. But
Hmm.
anyway, we can move on from pen ink refills for now, Sean. I'm sure the listeners might appreciate it, maybe not. Maybe you're an ink nerd, but I think there's plenty of things to dive into this year that can bring you joy and contentment, and most importantly, a positive attitude. Sean, what did you learn this week? Anything to share with the listeners before we shut it down?
Um, I did learn. I actually went and test drove a few different trucks because that's a
Oh,
purchase we've been talking about this year. I did learn that I really didn't like the Ranger Raptor. I
okay.
did learn it was pretty cool. We went and also looked at some trailers at Camping World because we're looking at like tow trailers for the future with the kids. Like, do we want to tow a trailer and like go camping, or do we want looking for tent camping? And something that I learned that was really, really cool is that the trailers are a lot less heavy. They're a lot lighter, I should say, than I expected.
Huh.
I was worried that the mid-sized truck level we were looking at wasn't going to be able to tow enough to be able to kind of live the lifestyle we're looking at. But realizing that they all are way lighter than I expected for still really good quality, good installation, really opened my eyes and realizing I don't have to go get the giant F-150 truck to be able to tow this stuff. We could tow it with just like a Chevy Colorado or a Ford Ranger. It was really cool. So that was a big thing I learned is that trailers really aren't
Nice.
as heavy as I thought they were going to be.
Oh, that's great. That is something nice to learn. And I feel like trucks these days are just so overbuilt. It
They
seems that
are.
it's getting crazy. Like even the Tacoma now, I'm like, is that a Tacoma? That is not a
Hmm.
small truck. That is a big truck.
It's huge.
But the Ram forever will be. I did I tell you the time I got the Ram 1500 for a rental car?
You
And
did, yeah.
everybody was like, dude, where did you get that? Because people are not expecting you to be driving from
Uh-huh.
out of town like a truck. And it was such a funny experience. But yeah, great truck, Ram. It had the little the shifter that's a dial. which was
Oh yeah, yeah.
it took a second to get used to it, but
I bet.
yeah, kind of interesting. Well, thanks, Sean, for sharing what you learned. And I'm looking forward to another rip roaring episode next week. Happy birthday to you, man.
Thank you.
Listeners, make sure to wish Sean a happy birthday wherever you are and enjoy your weekend. This episode, like all of our others, will be coming out at our regularly slated time, 6 a.m. Friday, best day of the week. And man, it's payday. It always feels good. So we hope that you are having a great time, maintaining that positive energy. And if you haven't, go check out Alex Honnold taking on the skyscraper Taipei 101. It's crazy, and that guy is an absolute maniac. Did you see that, Sean?
Nope, I have not.
Make your palms sweat if you want to go get some sweaty palms. Go watch that video. But with that, listeners, you know where to find us at the How
How
to
to
Hobby
hobby
podcast.
podcast.